Oh, bro,
Dude, it's been a minute.
it's been a little minute. Catch me up. What's going on in your world?
Oh, damn. So, I think the last time we talked was right when the kids won districts for All Stars. And
Yep.
then we had the state tournament, which they won their first game. That was pretty sweet. My kid came in as like the reliever in the second inning and ended up getting the win. We were down 6-0 or 6-1 when he came in, and then we came back and won it. So that was pretty sweet. I think he had one earned run and one walk by the other team. So that was pretty cool. But then they got smashed in the other two games. Like the other two teams that they played were just a league of their own,
Yeah.
just hit the ball in all the right spots, just finding gaps all day long. Made some really great plays, things like that. So it was fun though. It was a really great experience. The kids had a blast. And it was cool because they only played one game a day, so they had kind of the afternoon to hang out and do stuff together. Went to the water park. The final night, we took them all to this kind of like fun park type of thing. That had some go karts and batting cage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a super fun thing. And then came back playing catch up and signed a client that's in the crypto space that does like a daily morning show type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's been wild because what ended up happening is like the video editing team and the guy that was like managing the social media before were just like not cutting it. So I was just like supposed to build out the system, ended up hiring on like some video editors and like rebuilding the video editing process. And now things are just like moving and grooving. And what was taking them, I don't know, 12-ish hours to do, we're getting done in 4 on average,
Wow.
about 6 sometimes. So yeah, so that's been a lot of fun. But I mean, I've just been like going nonstop, like 12, 16-hour days. Because I've been trying to like add and build things into the system to like work with their workflow and just streamline it even more.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it's been cool to kind of like stress test it with so much content and be able to like start pushing like a lot of stuff through. And then the other thing that I need to kind of work on to streamline more is like we're using one main video and cutting that into different clips, and a lot of these clips will be going out and posted on multiple Twitter accounts. So it's one of
Oh.
those
Yeah.
right now is like there's a lot of redundancy with storage because we're uploading the same clip several times to like each brand account with Frame.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
next thing I need to do is like work on how we could just have like it's uploaded and then you pick like on the back end what brands you want it to go to, and I'll just post there and use the same video. So yeah, it's yeah, that's been basically my life.
Man, that's dope. So to wrap that up in a bow, the client you just signed in 20 seconds or less, what are you doing with them? Like what value are you bringing to the table? What service are you providing them? Just so for the sake of this recording, I think it would be really cool to just be like, hey, I signed this client. This is what their pain points were, whatever. So like 20 seconds or less, like tell me what it is.
Yeah, so it's a content redistribution system that really aims at organizing and managing like both the editing process from taking like long form videos, conversation, preferably with like 2 or more people, and turning those into short social media clips and posting them out to all the major platforms and even multiple channels, all just in like one screen basically, rather than having to click all over into those different social media posting softwares. And there's a few more automations I'm working in to try to bring it into like just a full Slack integration. So you just have a bot that you're posting videos to in Slack and responding to. So that's what they hired me to kind of build out for them.
Amazing.
Oh, and the other thing too is we're also a second part is going to be taking like written content, news articles, and things, and creating different posts like image posts and carousel posts and like different templated style posts for introducing like new shows and guests and things like that. that the system will be able to automate too, as we just kind of like plug certain things in on the front end, whether it's a link to an article or they fill out a form for like the next show with like the guest handle and stuff like that.
So are you essentially are you handling all of their media and like handling all of like the repurposing of the long form, short form, all of that?
So the best way to think about it is like I am not here to tell you what strategy to use because frankly like all strategies work and it really kind of depends on like just what you like to do. My job and purpose and mission is to find that blend of human and automation so that you can put out as much content as possible and also enjoy doing it, right? Because like that's really the big thing, at least for me, a lot of the clients that I've spoken to is like it's a pain to create content. Like that's why we do these content buddy calls, right?
Yeah.
You can do it with case studies, testimonial videos with students, clients, things like that. You can do it like teaching stuff or like, you know, doing like consulting calls with people and turn those into social media clips pretty easily with this system. I lost the question. Ask the question one more time because I went off on a tangent.
No, you're good. So I was just my original question was around like are you essentially taking over all of
Oh,
their media?
right. Yeah. So like, I'm not here to like tell you what strategy to implement. What you do is tell me the strategy that you want to see in the world, and then I build the system around automate as much of that process as possible while having like video editors on the back end that follow our system so it can keep costs down and like turn around videos pretty quick, you know, like 24 hours, 48 hours. And I'm going to work on like bringing that down even more. But yeah, essentially like we just make it easy for you to get your message out on social media. Like whatever that is, you send us the video, you tell us how the main things that you want to focus on, kind of style, mood, things like that. Our team goes and edits it, and then you just let us know, good to go, make these changes here, and just kind of keep cycling through that process until it's good, and then it puts it all in one space for you that you can just pick and choose what you want to schedule where and when.
Got you. Okay, so it sounds like the people that you're working with right now are already kind of in the media space in terms of just getting their message out, product, service, whatever the case may be, and they just need help repurposing it and, to your point, making it more human and more enjoyable to do. So, what if I hear this message and I'm like, man, like I need media. I would like Fran's help, but I don't know what to put out. Like I don't have videos. Like I don't know what to do. Like I would need someone to help me with that. Like what would your response be?
Right now we don't have like or aren't offering that particular service. It's something I'd like to do in the future. But something I still need to build out a process for because like that is kind of like the core of the content conundrum is like what do I say? You know, what's worth putting out into the atmosphere, into the world, and like how do I do that consistently? Because coming up with good ideas is tough. Everybody knows that if you've ever tried to sit down and record a video before, much less like 5 or 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So my best advice with that is to do content buddy calls, kind of like what we're doing right here, where you jump on with someone who is either in your industry, in a similar industry that you are, you know, friends with, have some kind of like mutual relationship with, and you just jam out about the things that you're doing right now, the things that you're working on, the success that you're having with clients. I mean, honestly, like just watch this whole video and it'll kind of give you a template of like what you can do to make content, or you know, just check out the previous videos on YouTube, because like that's all we've kind of been doing. And you know, we figure out our voice as we go,
Yep.
and it makes it really easy to keep going, because the hardest thing for people to understand and internalize is that like who the message is coming from is what matters the most, right? Like anything Elon Musk says is gonna get millions of views, or at least hundreds of thousands, simply because it's Elon Musk. You know, like
Right.
it's a big thing you're starting to see creators at least like open up a bit more about, and be like, hey, the reason why like I can consistently produce great content and get views and people watching my stuff is because like I've done cool things that are worth talking about. You know, as
Mhm.
the people who have actually like built big legitimate businesses or automated their business to the point where they're making $20,000 a month working 4 hours a week kind of thing. Like the 4 hour
Mhm.
work week thing is real, and like whatever that is, and it doesn't really matter. It's just people who have like achieved some level of success or mastery in a skill, and like anybody can do it. Like my son and I are really into baseball YouTube right now. We've just been watching so many different videos on how to throw different kinds of pitches, and I'm gonna make a pitching mound in the backyard, so I've been looking at how to build a pitching mound, different things like that. You know, and some of these videos get, you know, a few thousand views, few hundred views. A couple of them get hundreds of thousands of views, and the thing that you really have to like realize and understand is like what audience can you speak to from a place of authority. Like, you know, even if you're just starting out with something, like, you know, like say for example my son and I wanted to start creating YouTube videos around baseball, like ours would be focused around like how to you know, start learning the mechanics of pitching for little league players, you know, and focused on that like 9 to 10, 11 to 12 kids, because that's what Eli just experienced and just went through and learned. So he's going to have like the best ability to like speak about those things in that way. Same with me from like a parent coach level, is be like, hey, this is how like we worked on these things. This is how I talked to him. This is how I kept him interested, having fun, things like that. So you just do that and you keep doing cool things, and like as you naturally progress in both your life and, you know, content, you know, the reps that you get creating content, like things will evolve, they will get better, you know, you will sound more coherent, concise, your ideas will form better, it'll just get better on being on video. So to kind of like circle all the way back, it takes time and there's nothing you can really do about that. And it
Mhm.
sucks in the beginning just staring at a phone screen being like, well, this is what I'm blah. But if we can sit here once a week, once every other week, once a month, depending on how busy our schedules are, and jam out for an hour about the things that we're doing, just like this. Like I had no idea this was going to come out of my mouth, you know, but like you
Mhm.
just picked up on the fact that I was excited about this and wanted to press me a little bit on a few things, and you just sat there and let me go, right? And that's the cool
Yeah.
thing about having a content buddy, because then there's going to be other times or different parts of the call where I'm going to try to get you going on a tangent. I'm just going to sit back,
Mhm.
and now you have some good content, right? And at the very least, you had a good conversation with someone you enjoy speaking with, and like having that connection, like building those relationships and like, you know, solidifying those network ties and different things like that is just super beneficial for business. And, you know, just because this is kind of lonely sometimes, so getting a chance to like jam out with someone, and you
Mhm.
never know what's going to come out of it. Some days you'd be like, you know, maybe I'll only find 2 or 3 clips from it, I don't really want to post the rest. Other days you'd be like, wow, I've got content for a month now. So
Yeah.
it's more so getting into the habit and routine of like making the process fun and enjoyable, because now
Mhm.
at least like we enjoy this conversation, and if at least one other person gets some benefit of it, like I think that's a win, you know. And the other thing to think
Yeah.
about too is like even if you're only getting 17, 50, 100 views per video, imagine giving a presentation or saying the same thing to an audience of 100 people. Like I've, you know, I haven't performed on stage since college, and, you know, haven't spoken on stage since before then. And like I remember just my classroom speech in high school with 15 kids, I was like, oh my god, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
So but this is much easier because I'm just talking to you right now. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say for people who are struggling to create content. Just talk to someone that you like talking to about the things you're interested in. And if you have clients or students or people that you've like gotten cool results for, jam out with them and just talk to them about what, you know, what's like working with you and what you've done.
Yeah. Man, that's good. You're gonna have a lot out of this clip.
Yeah, I am. I appreciate that. Thank you. Like
Yeah.
that was a really
No,
good
that's
tangent.
awesome. How's so like when we first started, and you were telling me about Content Buddy and all of that, how I think you signed a couple of clients, right?
Not exactly. I was trying to do some free trial stuff. I was having a few conversations and did like a few free edits for people.
Yeah.
Um, but it never really manifested in anything. And it was just more so like I needed to, because what I was trying to do, and I think I'm ditching this, is doing like a done for you install where I set up in someone's business.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are just like, but like, what if you just like did the edits for me? Like, I really don't want to do video editing.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
but after kind of like having to do it for this client and just them, like be like, hey, we've got this budget. I'm like, oh, I know some people. Like, let me kind of set this up. Um, and getting that in place and getting a very good system down for that, where I'm like very hands off. I usually review the videos right now because we're still kind of working out and finding exactly like what the client wants. Which is this the first week or the second week? This is the second week. This is the second week
yeah.
of them being played. So like it's going very well so far. I'm like, wow, this is a lot easier than I thought. And I'm having them like build out the SOP and be like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
like if you had a day to train someone to do exactly what you're doing, what's everything you would want to know? Like put that together for me. And I paid them more than I probably needed to for it. But I'm like, I want you guys to put a lot of effort and work into this because this is going to be kind of like the core foundation of the business is like how quickly we can turn these videos into clips will be, very big determinant of like, our ability to like price premium, just like provide a great customer experience. Because if, I can get to the point where I'm saying like, hey, you can have a 60-minute video turned into clips in 6 hours and ready for scheduling, like
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty sweet offer. It's like, yeah, upload anytime you have it. Like we've got a global team. Someone will get notified. They'll pick up and they'll start editing based on your guidelines. So that's what I'm like working towards. And
Mm-hmm.
the way you get there is by having like a really solid process down. So I really want to put work and focus into that right now. Because I have seen like over the last 10 years what happens with businesses when they're trying to grow or do things and they don't have good processes in place, and especially
Mm-hmm.
as like the team expands and no one is like, well, where's this, what do we do for here, like, oh my god, I'm slapping this together, and someone's like, oh, I was working on that, like, and it's just so inefficient. I've seen like businesses just fall apart because they can't get that piece down and that organization piece down, and then that means like their internal costs are so high because no one's really, and then plus no one's getting stuff done. So like not only are you having to pay people a lot, they're not producing as much, so you can't move the business forward or like handle whatever workload you have. Therefore, like you have to charge higher prices and put this bullshit messaging around being a premium product and blah blah blah, and we do all this. It's like, oh no, you're really just having to charge those prices because you suck at business. And clients figure that out pretty quick when the promises don't really match up with the deliverables, and then they leave after a month or two, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
what I've been kind of studying and seeing with different friends and people I know in kind of this online world is the benefit of getting very focused on like a product or offering, being able to systemize it to a degree where you can both offer a like a very good like price to value ratio, right? Like not necessarily saying like good to be the cheapest, but the deliverable that you will get will, like normally people would have to pay 5 times more. Like, right now with the number of video clips that we're producing for this client, they're getting 30-second to 2-minute video clips with B-roll. Probably we've been upping the B-roll a little bit. So usually like about 3 to 5, sometimes 7 B-roll clips throughout the video. Producing those at about $25 per video clip, which normally, you go to Fiverr or something like that and getting like 30 to 60 seconds of edited video with a B-roll, is kind of in the neighborhood of like $75 to $100.
It's expensive.
And, yeah, and the thing is like the quality output that my team is doing is better than the last team. They're doing it faster and they're doing it cheaper. So that's really
Awesome.
awesome. And like that's just, largely because of having a solid process in place where they can just kind of go down the line and know exactly what they're doing every step of the way.
Yeah, no, that's good. Can you talk about um, the shift between what you originally set out to do and where you are now? I think it's gold because I actually had this conversation with someone that was looking for consulting on his in his gym actually. And what I find a lot of times is we, as business owners, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call it, have this vision, have this set way of what we want to go to market with. We go to market with the thing, all to find out that the market doesn't really want the thing or need the thing or maybe doesn't understand the thing. So talk about like when you're doing your market research with your product or service and how it's kind of shifted you into where you're at now and your light bulbs are kind of going off because I'm seeing it as you're talking and it's like, huh, well, that didn't go where I thought it would, but like it seems like this is more of a pain point for people. So I'm gonna maybe shift to that. Like talk to me about that whole process.
Yeah, and like I am so guilty of wanting to make a certain thing and then try to force it into the market. Like I am a creative at heart. I'm an artist at heart. Like I just happen to get into business because I'm unemployable. But I really don't like. I'm not a business person. Like I don't make smart business choices. Like I will spend extra money for quality. Like I'll sign up for another B-roll software just like on a whim to try out some new stuff. Like that's what I care about most because like it's fun to do. Um, and but that also means like like I make my art and be like you guys should like this,
Yeah.
and like that's fine and stuff for like the photography and things I want to do, but like what where it finally clicked for me was do what people will pay you for. um because like that was the thing, people were just over and over again like, oh, like I don't really want to do this myself, like I don't really want to handle this, but because like I thought I had a really solid pitch of like agencies overcharge, they underdeliver, they're just, never get what you promise kind of thing. It always works half-assed. So like instead of hiring an overpriced agency, like pay one time and now like, but everybody's like, no, 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 no. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just do it as the service. And also too, the other thing I realized, like it's kind of a pain to set it up for like new clients and things like that. So I'm just like, well, if I just set up once, I can build all the automations once, and then all I have to do is just kind of some Slack integrations to talk with new clients, or just have a client join our Slack organization, honestly, and then put a new channel for them. Way easier. And then the other thing too is because like it's my service, I can have more control of the team, build out the SOPs, and like really focus my time on those things to the point where we can just keep creating a better and better offer. Like I said, to the point where I would like to be able to say like, hey, we have a global team, so no matter when you upload your video, you will get 10 clips within 4 hours for first pass revision. Anytime you make a comment for things you want changed, it'll be done within a half hour on average, kind of thing. Be able to
Mhm.
create a system like that. So that sounds, now that I've kind of shifted my thinking and like what my idea of like creativity is, or like art is in a way,
Mhm.
this now sounds like a lot more fun. And it definitely feels like the right path because it's one of those, it's like when you get really into something, like I've been spending 12 to 14 hours, 16 hours a day just working on this stuff when I have free time, just because like, I don't know, it's consuming my, like all of my thoughts. And it's like, oh, this is the right path to go down. So yeah, it's do what people will pay you for and like kind of keep figuring out from there. Because the other thing too, and an area where I need to get better on is just like the more money that you can have saved, like have your basic bills covered, and like like I live pretty well like within my means and stuff like that, but I do a terrible job of saving. But like if you can like save up 6 months or years worth of stuff, like with having a job or anything like that, that gives you a
Mhm.
really powerful position to explore and be able to do those things. Like I did, like I was able to do that for the first part of this year, and not have to take on as much work, so I could finish kind of building out this system and tweaking it to what I need it to be. And
Hmm.
now I've like really gotten it to a point where it's like, oh, this is something I could really kind of start pushing out and bringing clients on for without, you know, having everything kind of fall apart and burn to the ground once you get past like 5 people.
Yeah, man, that's really powerful. So now that you've kind of found something that came out of nowhere, and basically what you're saying and how I'm understanding it is you are solving a real problem for a client that you didn't originally go in there intending to solve. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Awesome.
could yeah. What I was originally kind of brought on to do was just build out this system in there because they already had like the video editing team and someone managing that. They had someone that was like kind of managing the social media of like strategy and posting and scheduling and stuff like that. And when the system like got brought in, it just kind of became very apparent that like things weren't going the way they were supposed to be going. And just from like having done this for the last like 3 years myself with clients, I'm just like, this isn't that difficult. This shouldn't be that hard. I'm like, I really don't want to do it. But I'm like, I know people that like can do it, and like I know the process. So just like over the weekend, I built out a process, recorded a few Loom videos, and got a couple people hired on, and we were off to the races. Like, you know, on Monday, and yeah, it's been working out really well, and it's been. I've never wanted to manage a team before. Like I did that at Sears. I managed the home appliance salesman,
Hmm.
and it wasn't very fun for me at the time. I think that was a lot largely because like I just didn't know a lot about appliances,
Hmm.
and like I don't really like sales,
Hmm.
so it wasn't a good fit there. But the kind of operation side and organization side, I'm having a lot of fun, kind of directing things, figuring out ways to make stuff flow better, kind of holding people to like, hey, make sure we leave comments here, don't bring it to this channel, different things like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like I've always, yeah, I've seen like so many businesses struggle like with teams managing teams, and I'm like, and now I'm just like, it's not that hard. Like I don't understand like where people struggle so much. I'm like, it's not that difficult. It's just like be clear in what you want and let them get there how they want, right? Like,
Hmm.
as you know, it's like, hey, we need this thing at this, spot. Like here's a general like flow of like what I think will like work well. Modify it to whatever fits your cadence best, and let them go.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's good. So where do you see, like, do you see this, I guess a two-part question. A, do you see this scaling, what you're doing right now? And B, at what point in the process where you're working with this current client do you say, all right, I've got kind of the general outline of what this could look like to replicate this. Now I'm going to go back to the people that I had conversations with before, and now here's the offer. Or how are you planning on doing that, or what are you thinking about in terms of that?
Um, I'm shooting for like end of the month to have something kind of like solidified and ready to go. We're still working on the last few pieces of the process and building out the image side of things, the image and text post, because I think that would be cool to get in there as well. So end of the month for that. As far as scaling and growth, it's I right now I'm a big believer and fan of more lifestyle business. Like I don't need to grow this thing to $1 million a month or whatever.
Hmm.
I'm more so doing it to the point of still enjoying it. I would like my first goal would be a $20,000 months pretty
Yep.
consistently,
Yep.
but I don't really have like a particular like top. It's just like as long as it's still fun to grow and do, and I'm able to do other things I'm interested in, because like that's also kind of where not I guess some of this is leading to thinking wise is like I've been doing this for 10 years and have generated $10 million in revenue for clients, written 10 million words, and barely any of it has been my own content. I still don't really know what I want to say or what I want to talk about. And what
Mm,
I've kind of realized is it's just because like talking about business stuff isn't that really interesting for me right now. Talking about copywriting things, marketing stuff really isn't that interesting, because at the end of the day, it's like just show up, be excited about the thing that you have to like offer, and be good at it. Have a good product.
yeah,
Like it's not that difficult. Just
yeah.
talk more about it. Which I say that not doing it, but also too like I don't really want to do that. So what I would like to do is more other different things and make content about that, and like kind of because like I love learning stuff. I love learning new things, and that's like how I've
Mhm.
ended up here, because like I'm starting to teach myself computer programming because I need to for this. I had no intention of doing that a month ago. Um, so it sounds a lot more fun to get this down to something where I'm spending 10 to 20 hours a week on than building a garden in my backyard, or
Mm,
making a video about how to like put in a pitching mound and a batting cage in your backyard on a budget, or
yeah.
just different things like that that like are interesting and fun to do, and ideally like either don't cost money or save money, or and like make you kind of more like self-sufficient. I'm not talking like prep or anything, but like I have been a like very against like the food industry for a lot, like since 2008. Like I was like an early nutrition nut to like I was doing intermittent fasting like 2010, when people still thought it was crazy. So like I've been kind of like against like the food industry and all that stuff like way before it was like cool or like right wing conspiracy or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's only gotten worse and worse over the years. So like now that I actually have like my own house and a yard, I would like to start growing some food of my own, different fruits, veggies, things like that. Maybe get some meat rabbits for the dog. And I think it'd be a lot of fun to like, I don't know, make content about that stuff and like go down and explore those different things. So that's like where kind of all this is sort of like winding to, and I've really no idea like how it's gonna happen
Mm.
yet. But yeah, that's where I'm looking at this moment, and it could change. That's life.
That 100%. You're not locked into any one thing. So at the moment, what I heard you kind of say is I want to, do what I'm doing now to get it to a point where, we can maybe get to 20K a month working 4, 6 hours a week. And then the rest of that time, it will free you up and give you the time freedom to be able to actually create content and do things in other spaces that you have a lot of interest, which is really cool.
Yeah, because I think it'd be a lot of fun to be able to like focus my time on doing like editing that doesn't really scale, whether it's like my own stuff or like picking certain videos or clips from clients every once in a while and just kind of doing like an over the top job on some edits just because it's fun,
Yeah.
and to give them something really cool. Because like like what a nice like awesome gift. Then like every once in a while it's just like, hey, here's a surprise, like edit job that would normally cost like 3 or 4 or 5 times as much. Yeah, like that stuff sounds more fun to me than continually finding ways to increase margins, lower CAC, blah blah blah. Like I'd rather just like focus more on the product and building that better and getting like referrals. And then just the other thing too is like as it grew naturally, just starting to do calls like this with clients periodically just to talk about what's going on with their stuff, um, and things like that. So that's kind of all for that. But before you say anything, I would like to hear what's been going on in your world, because I don't want to take up this entire call, since I
Bro,
know
we
you've
take
been
it
up to
up.
stuff. I know, but like we haven't talked in like a month, dude. I want to hear what's been going on in your life too. Like, that's
Yeah.
so
Well,
yeah.
I appreciate that. I honestly was asking you all that stuff because I was genuinely interested in it because it's just was different than what you originally set out to do. So I just wanted to learn more about it. So that's really cool. But yeah, on our end, getting a little bit more busy now on the short term rental stuff. We just our owners just picked up another property, so we are in the middle of renovations, picking like flooring and colors and all that stuff, and just the whole design phase. And so we've got contractors at the property now, working on rearranging some things, but hopefully we get the finished empty house delivered to us in the next few weeks, and then start designing and building it out. And so yeah, that takes a lot of time to go from uh, a property that is empty and dirty and nasty to listed on Airbnb and VRBO and all the travel booking sites. It's quite a process, but I'm really excited about this project because it's our first one where it's a standalone property, with a pretty cool yard, and we're thinking about doing some cool stuff, maybe like putt putt or like bocce ball. Even discuss like a pickleball court back there, fireball or fireball, like a fire pit, grill area, like really making it um, extremely experiential for the guests, especially because it's not like in downtown Nashville. It's about I'd say like 12 to 15 minutes away. So what we've learned, like just through market research, is the further away you are from where people want to be, the more attractive your property has to be, and
Mm-hmm.
the bigger a reason why you have to give people a reason to want to stay there. And so our avatar that we're looking to target is going to be larger groups, families, things like that, that are close enough to go do all the Nashville things, but wouldn't mind staying home because there's all this stuff to do right there, without having to go anywhere. And so that's the mindset that we've kind of adopted while looking at this property specifically. And we're really excited about it because it's different than the other nine that we manage. So yeah, we've just been spending a lot of time on that, bro. Honestly.
Dude, I love that idea and thought process because I'm exactly that kind of person where it's like I would love a place that's a little outside the city or at least the busy part where it's close enough I could take an Uber for like an afternoon and dinner, maybe, or like brunch, like, go spend like 2 or 3 hours in the city, have my fill, come back after a meal, and then we just
Yep.
chill out at the place. Or even like, like, because all sometimes too, it's not even necessarily about like being in the city. It's just getting together with your buddies. And if it's one
Yep.
of those things where like we don't have to leave the house at all, that'd be
Yeah.
pretty fucking sweet too. Because then we can just hang out together, do our thing. Like if there's putt putt in the backyard or pickleball would be like I would put a vote in for that. I just played pickleball for the first time when we were downstate for the
Yeah.
tournament, and it was so much fun. And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean like shit, like my friends don't really drink, but I could totally see like doing like a drunk pickleball tournament type of thing throughout the afternoon day. Like that would be a
Yeah.
blast. And
Yeah.
absolutely, like if I saw there's a pickleball in the backyard and this was like gonna be 4, 5, 6 of my guy friends or more, oh yeah, absolutely. Even kids too, like be able to
Yeah.
just send the kids out in the backyard and be like, go play, because you could probably just put a basketball hoop up there too, and that's another like, because that's just another line on the court because it's pretty much the same thing. And
Yeah.
now kids have something to do if the parents want to relax at all. Does it have a pool?
It doesn't.
No,
Doesn't have a
but
pool. We wouldn't have the size for it, and
yeah.
so it all is going to depend on cost,
Hmm.
because it's really easy for cost to just shoot way up when you're like, let's do
Oh yeah.
pickleball, bocce ball, and putt putt green, and turf is extremely expensive, and you've got all the landscaping that you got to do. So we got to look at budget and see what we can realistically do. But these were sort of just our big visionary, like, what if we did this? What if we did
Hmm.
that? And looking in the city of Nashville, there's like less than five properties that even have like a pickleball court. So it's something that we are like strongly considering because that sport has taken America by storm because kids as young as 5, 6 can play, and you got 60, 70 year olds playing. I mean, it's really easy to play, and people have a lot of fun doing it. So we'll see how all that works out. But yeah, this whole property, it's built around like how do we create incredible experience for the guests, and how do we create a place where they don't want to leave.
Do they have pickleball, like a lot of pickleball tournaments in Nashville, or like have
I'm
you looked
sure they
into?
do. I'm not in that world, but I'm sure they do. I've got people I go to church with that are like religious about it, like obsessed, like play every
Talk to
day.
them. Be like, yeah,
Yeah,
like would you like see like people like coming in for a pickleball tournament and like staying there? Because like how sweet would that be if you came in for a pickleball tournament and you could just dink around in your own court, like away from everybody else, and not have to worry about like finding a court or waiting for courts, and you just show up, right before your match and go.
yeah, that would be sick. Yeah, I probably should have that conversation. I didn't think about that.
Also, this is your reminder to be getting B-roll throughout this entire renovation process. Just go over like every day or two and just do a walkthrough of the house and like narrate a little bit and stuff.
Yeah,
And you like that will come in so handy and be so good for whatever kind of videos and stuff that you might want to do later. Just being able to like slap that on or just seeing like a little bit of a time lapse. And it takes almost nothing to do to just like do a lap of the house and talk about what's been going on. Plus, it'll give you great ideas for content later. Just go back and like watch it and be like, oh yeah, that's right, this happened, and that can kind of like help you do like a voiceover narrative.
yeah. And I was there just yesterday. Me and Bree were there. Yeah, I'll go back tomorrow, so I'm definitely gonna start doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Because that'll be so cool to see as like that progress from like the demo stage to or cleaned out, and then like you guys coming in, it's like floors and this and paint and these chandeliers or not chandeliers but light fixtures, all that
Yeah, yeah,
stuff
yeah, yeah, yeah,
throughout.
yeah. I
Yeah,
know.
and then
I
just
like watching that stuff. It's cool to see something go from like ugly, dirty, messy to like the finished process and everything in between. I think people really enjoy like watching the process of things.
oh my god, absolutely love it, love it.
Yeah, it's a
And
good
like
idea.
and you can do a lot of easy stuff like just more like those would actually make kind of cool day in the life videos where you have to like be like, oh, something happened at the property, so we have to make a like emergency Home Depot run. This is how we kind of like handle like the kids, whether it's like we take them with us or like
Yeah,
like all of that
yeah,
kind of stuff is just content, right? Because like
yeah,
like that's something really cool about what you guys are doing. It's like you're a husband wife pair with 3 kids that are all
yeah.
under 4, 5.
Under 5. Yep,
Yeah, all under 5.
yep.
It's like how we're building this kind of property management company, juggling, life and all the other things. Um, that's interesting, right? I mean, like that's the Chip and Joanna Gaines kind of stuff brought down to that local level.
Yeah,
And the more that you put that out there, that just builds the brand and stuff like that. Because imagine you're putting out this content. So like even do some of this stuff as just like stories on Instagram and just like face in the camera videos. You're just walking through and just like uploading some of these 30-second clips as you go, like not even worrying about like editing.
yeah,
Because people are just gonna follow this process and gonna start asking like, when is this property available? Like when can dude? That's why you should do the pickleball. That's why you should do the pickleball because you document this. Excuse me. Well, that totally ruined that. Um,
you're good.
dude, this is why you should do the pickleball is because you can kind of document the whole process and like as it's demoing, you can like hint and tease that you're gonna do something like really cool in the backyard that like only 4 or 5 other properties in Nashville have. Blah, like do all that, and then like as the pickleball court starts going or like maybe even like before that as you're getting into like the planning phases, you can kind of like start showing like the drawings and the diagrams as you're thinking about it and like reveal it then, because then you're going to have the whole pickleball community following along being like, what, I want to go stay at this place.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's a
um
really good idea.
and especially too like if you can find like some pickleball tournaments in the Nashville area, like I'd probably say anything within like an hour's drive would be
Hmm.
somewhat reasonable or at least worth testing. And you just, use their hashtags on social media or like start commenting on, I don't know if you need to comment. Well, you could comment on their accounts. That would definitely help. But I mean, just like including stuff like that or whatever. I mean, shit, get into pickleball yourself. Good, great way for some
Yeah, I'm
cheeky
supposed to
cardio.
play in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are just ideas
That's some good
for
ideas, bro.
building out there. Because yeah, like you're saying, like people love seeing the process. Again, this is
Yeah,
another testament to like why you do the content calls because like stuff like that comes out. So like in the process, we're just like helping each other. The first half of the call, like, just get me to spill stuff, and now you're like here's some ideas for you to do some marketing, some content, things like that. So,
Man, I love it.
dude, that's super cool though. Like, yeah, whatever you end up doing, like, as long as there's a cool hangout space in the backyard or like something, some place to gather, like, absolutely. What are your thoughts on hot tubs for property
Yeah,
rentals?
yeah. So they can boost your revenue quite a bit when you've got a hot tub. Like it can take a C property or a D property and instantly like you got a B properly or property, excuse me. Because it goes into that experience bucket. Like people are when they want to just hang out, like it just invites people to come in and use the amenities that you have available for them. And so we looked into it as well. But I think there are a lot of places around here with hot tubs, and so like we're trying to take it a step further in terms of okay, like we could do a hot tub, or we could do a pickleball court or something like that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so I like them. I think they're great revenue drivers. They also come with their own challenges as well in terms of maintenance of them, the cleaning of them between guests, all that type of stuff. If it's not working or out of order, like having to deal with that. Whereas, like, if you've got a basketball hoop, a pickleball court, bocce ball, like cornhole, all that stuff is pretty low maintenance. So it's just easier from a management standpoint as well. But yeah, hot tubs, depending upon the property, like are great.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering. Is like, do they drive enough revenue that they're worth it, or are they just a huge pain? Because like I would imagine like they'd have to get a good clean between each guest because people are disgusting. Like
Yep.
if it's broken, like it's got to be fixed immediately. Because
Yep.
like we stayed at a hotel and the pool was closed, and that was like all the kids talked about. Like the rest of travel team is like, we're not like, is the pool going to be open? Is the pool going to be open? Like a couple of people actually like just did like left that hotel and like got a different one just because. And so like,
Because they wanted a pool.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we wanted something, the kids need something to do and hang out like when they're not playing. Otherwise they're just gonna be running around in our rooms or down the halls, and that's not gonna work. So
Right.
yeah. um
No, that's a good point. I mean, for example, like with this property, when I was doing like market research in terms of like revenue potential, in the immediate area, there was another property not too far that does have a hot tub that was doing almost 20,000 more in revenue than everywhere else around it, and the biggest differentiator was that hot tub.
that
So they
sounds like it's worth
do,
it.
yeah, no, it's definitely worth it for sure. But I mean, everything's a trade off, right? Like you get a hot tub, and then you also got to know that you're dealing with more maintenance. You're dealing with people
Hmm.
booking your place for the hot tub, so it's got to work. It cannot break, and things of that nature. But I think when I'm looking at those numbers, like the trade off seems to be worth it.
Yeah, because I would imagine like if it added $5,000 a month in additional costs, like I feel like that would be ridiculously high. Like, maybe
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
thousand, 2,000 if you want to like budget for the times it goes down so that you can just like pay someone to get there right away. But
Right.
yeah, like there's no way it costs anywhere near that to operate a month. So yeah, that
No.
sounds like a great addition if you can have the space for it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing as well is like space, and that's why I said it depends on the property that you have as well. Because a lot of properties here in Nashville, some don't have like great backyards or like no backyards because we have a lot of like tall and skinnies and things of that nature. And so like now you got to put the hot tub like on the roof, which now you got to pay like thousands of dollars to like get a crane to like get it up there. You got to get a structural engineer in to like tell you yes, it can support this house can support the weight of a hot tub with the water in it. Like it's a ton of so sometimes it's not always worth it to spend all that money and time and energy and effort. So that's why I said it all just kind of depends.
Yeah, for sure. That
Yeah.
totally makes sense.
Yeah, bro.
Dude, I love the
Um,
pickleball court idea though. I
I
think
hope
you
we
need to
can
run
make
with
it
that.
work, man. We've been looking at it, and I knew it wouldn't be cheap to do, but man, it's up there. It's up
Just
there, and so
do
say
do
again. I'm
like
sorry.
do like a quick reel video, like show in the backyard, be like, hey, would you guys come, would you stay in Airbnb with a pickleball court? Like just throw
Yeah,
that out there, see what happens for like views.
and see, yeah, no, that's a good idea too, man. Fran, you
I
got
wouldn't
all the.
necessarily, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily expect much or like use that as a disqualifier, but like if for some reason it just caught the algorithm right and like kind of took off, because it'd be a really quick, easy, short video where you just be like, could you, would you stay at Airbnb with a pickleball court? Just imagine it back here, 10 seconds long. Leave a comment, let me know, like the video. Because yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it could catch the algorithm and like pop off with something. Then it's like, there you go.
no, that's good. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be there tomorrow, so I'm gonna get some of this stuff while we're in the early stages and got debris and construction stuff everywhere. Like I think it's a good time to start that.
Yeah, yeah, do it, do it.
Have you been well, you've been working 12 to 16-hour days, so maybe not, but have you been seeing any of the Olympic highlights at all?
I've caught a little bit here and there. I was down visiting my parents earlier this week, and we were all watching some of the events together. We saw the 100-meter sprint gold medal. That was pretty crazy
Yeah.
to see with that photo finish. We caught the like tandem bike circle thing where they broke like 5 world records in like an hour.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
ridiculous. I'm like, that's stupid. That's totally technology and the racetrack. Like, I don't buy it. I don't get it. Like, I saw a guy make a great video that's basically like the idea that these athletes are breaking the same world record as athletes even like 40 years ago. Because I think prior to, what was it, 1980 or 84, you could not be a professional athlete and participate in the Olympics. Now, like, that's people's whole like career and aspiration. But prior
Oh
to
yeah.
that, like, going and looking back at like older photos and videos and stuff like that, there's a dude like shooting a bow and it looks like he just took off his suit coat. Like he's got suspenders on. There's a woman that's in like a full dress shooting a bow. And now
Yeah.
you have these guys that basically look like cyborgs with the pistols and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Did
that
you
one
see
dude from Turkey killed
those?
everybody with
Awesome.
some bifocals on, bro.
Just
And his hand in
nonchalant
his
him.
pocket. Yeah,
That
I was
was
like,
so,
bro, the memes going around with that guy are hilarious.
yeah, that's
Hilarious,
so
bro.
fun. What have you been
Yeah,
watching?
man, I'm a track and field guy.
Oh,
So
okay.
that is like my favorite. I do really like swimming, but we've been I feel like we've been getting tore up in swimming this time around.
But didn't the USA women's relay team break a world record or nearly break a world record?
Which relay? Because I know Canada won
The
one,
the
and
medley, the four
the
by
medley. Did we
four
win
by
that?
100 medley.
I don't know if I saw that one. Was it the all women's or was it we won the mixed uh relay race
I
where they
didn't know
have
there
two
was a
men, two
mixed.
women.
I didn't know there
I
was a
think
mixed one.
me neither.
Maybe that.
This is the first time I've ever seen it. They've got a so even on track the 4x4, they've got a mixed 4x4, two men, two
That I
women.
like. I like that idea for like, if you want
They
like
have it in swimming
mixed
too.
genders. That I think is like anytime you can do a relay where it like, because that's some cool strategy of like who swim. Is it the medley too where they do all four strokes? Because like that would be an
Yes.
interesting strategy of
Yeah.
like who's doing what stroke, men versus
And
women.
like
Because
yeah,
obviously there's that's interesting. Okay, cool.
it was
What's your
interesting.
favorite track and field event?
Man, probably the 4x4.
Okay. Why do you like
Yeah,
it?
I like it because there's a lot of strategy involved in that race. Um, and it's long enough to where anything can happen. Anything can happen. And so yeah, that's easily my favorite when I'm watching that. Um, but I like man, I can watch anything from obviously the 100 meter. all the way up to like even the longer races have been a lot of fun to watch. Like I've been watching like the 1500 or like
Hmm.
the 3000 or the 5000 because there's a lot of strategy. I like the races where there's a ton of strategy involved because who you race sometimes determines how you race.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you see that a lot in how a lot of these athletes are preparing for their races, especially when they are racing in like a prelim or like a semifinal versus like the finals. Their race strategies start to change up and differ, and it's cool like listening to the announcers kind of talk about that as well. So yeah.
Very cool. I did track and field in middle school, but that wasn't my main thing. I've never been a big runner. What is the strategy in like a relay race? Because I don't really know anything about those.
Yeah, so like it depends. So like this mixed medley one, where you had two women, two men. Um, so in prelims, the U.S. actually broke a world record
Huh.
in the mixed medley. They destroyed the entire field by
Huh.
like 50 meters. I mean,
Wow.
crushed everybody. Then they got to the finals. They were out ahead. Last person got the baton with a okay lead. Obviously, it's the final, so everyone's faster. And ended up getting caught by this athlete. Her name is Femke Ball. She is a Netherlands 400-meter specialist. Does like the 400-meter hurdles and then like 4x4 and stuff like that. And she ends up catching. I forget the American that was running in it, but she ends up catching her for gold. And it was nuts. And so like I'm looking at it thinking through the strategy of it. Obviously, you have a USA team that just broke the world record in this. You keep the team the same. Like, I get that logic. Now, the Netherlands, who qualified for the finals, they ended up, because in the rules, you're allowed to make a substitution. So they ended up subbing one of the girls for Femke Ball, who is like the basically the Michael Jordan of this event for her country. Like, she is the best of the best. And so, from a strategy standpoint, you could look back and say, do we make a swap somewhere knowing that this girl's in the race and they are our biggest threat? Because the anchor leg for the U.S., she's 19 years old and this was her first Olympics.
Ooh.
And what you're asking her to do is deliver a gold medal racing arguably one of the best 400-meter runners in the world. That's a tough ask.
So, two questions. First off, why or how come she didn't make the team in the first place then? Like, if she's so good, why was she a substitution and not one of the original four?
Yeah, so what they'll do is because she's in multiple other events, and
Okay.
you can't have her run like
Okay.
everything.
So that was the follow up question because I was gonna say like I feel like that would be so horrible to like tell like an athlete like, hey, I know you came to run this 400-meter relay, but you're just not quite good enough. So just like go sit on the sidelines for the Olympics. But knowing that they have like all the other events and stuff that they do too, I'm like, oh, okay. So it's not that big of a deal. It's more of like football where you're like, oh, we're gonna throw this wide receiver in for this play, and like you because you're better
Yep.
on these plays.
Yeah, and it's also a way for them to bring more athletes
Sure.
legally, like onto the team. So maybe maybe you make your Olympic team for your country, knowing you're only going to be running in the prelims or the semis, and there
Mm-hmm.
could potentially be a swap somewhere. But you don't really care because you're like, I made this. It's freaking hard to make an
Yeah, it's like
Olympic
I'm going to the
roster.
Olympics.
I'm going to
Yeah.
like not most of us cannot ever say that.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that's why that kind of happened there. And like I mean, at the end of the day, like it's about going there and winning gold. Like you do what you got to do to win. And that's
Dude,
what they did.
yeah, the Olympics are that would be such a cool experience. I would like to go to the Olympics someday. I think it'd be a lot of fun just to, watch a few. I wouldn't watch a ton of stuff, but just to like wander around and like experience all of the different people around and things like
Yeah.
that. Um what are like some of the weirder or like less popular sports or events that you've watched? Because my dad and I got into the gold medal round for badminton with like,
I watched that.
oh my god, it was so good. The dude
Yeah.
was dancing with that racket, like
Yeah. Yeah, I
oh,
watched
the
it.
I was he Swiss or whatever, but
I can't even
yeah,
remember. If it was on and I just started watching it, and I'm like, I can't. This is
mesmerizing.
wild. I watched archery. I watched
Ooh,
that, which is wild because you got to. I mean, these guys are hitting tens like the center of the thing like every time. It was crazy.
that's a
So I
good
watched
skill.
that. Um, Handball to me is weird, and I watched a little bit of that.
Didn't see that one. I like the
What else?
gymnastics, the
Oh
parallel
yeah,
bars and the is it unparalleled bars? Is that the other one
like
where
the
they're like
uneven bars.
uneven? That's
Yeah,
it.
the
Yeah.
uneven bars. Yeah,
Hmm.
yup. Yeah, watched a lot of gymnastics. I actually got into watching artistic swimming, like the synchronized swimming
Oh,
thing yesterday, and just sitting there with my wife being like, "How how are they doing this?"
right. Like in
Like
water. Like
in water. They're treading water the entire time.
I took an adult jazz class once, and like staying in step and coordinated with a group of people, like with an even surface, conditions are right, and everything like that was hard enough for me. I could not imagine doing that swimming, and I'm a good swimmer. Like I'm very like
Yeah.
I could tread water for an hour. I'm comfortable in the water, but that I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Nah, I know. Yeah, they're upside down for quite a substantial amount of time. Like with the legs doing all this. Yeah, I got caught up watching it yesterday, just sitting there like, how do you even train for something like this? Like, how do you know
Hmm.
the timing of everything and where you are in the water? Like, it takes a lot of skill. Like, I just appreciate just the dedication that these athletes put into being the best in the world at all these different events. Like, I don't, we're sitting here watching it, but like sometimes I'm like, I don't think people really understand what it takes to like do this stuff.
Hmm.
When you see these people representing their countries, that literally means they are the best amongst the best in their entire country at that thing. Like you got to let that sink in for a little bit. So when you see someone at the Olympics get destroyed in something, you're like, how in the world did they even make the Olympics? Like they were the best in their country.
Yep.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? And so like it's like mesmerizing and fascinating to me to just think through that and just the preparation of 4 years going into making this team and having a chance to compete for a podium.
And imagine too, like those kids that are like teenagers still going over to this. You know, that one
Oh
girl
yeah,
who's 19. Like, oh my god! Like looking back
yeah,
to like me at 19. Ooh, I don't know. Like that's something I always just find so wild. Like to the athletes that make the professional level and like how young it you are and like having like. If I had that sort of fame and notoriety at 19, oh my gosh, that would not be a
yeah.
good thing.
I wouldn't be good for me either. It wouldn't be good.
No.
But bro, you might get your chance. You know, the next Olympic is in L.A.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I have no desire to go to LA. Ugh. I've been there
Well, maybe
once and never again.
well, maybe I don't know when the 2032 Olympics would be, but 2028's in L.A.
I feel like you'd have to go. Like I'd have to go to a foreign one. That'd be just, like why? Like that'd be a great excuse to go across the pond or hit
Oh
a
yeah.
different country.
Nah, for sure it would. But I actually got to jump, man, for my next thing. But bro, so excited for you and the things that you're doing
Same.
with the crypto company. That's sick. That's sick.
Yeah,
I'm excited to hear more about that.
it's been fun so far. I can't wait to play on that pickleball court in a few months.
Cross your fingers, man. Hopefully it's in the budget. We'll have a meeting with the owners tomorrow. We're gonna see.
Hey, like it's doable. So last thing, really quick, one of the guys' grandpas on my kids' team,
Yeah.
he made some money on Bitcoin during COVID. Just like threw a bunch of money in Bitcoin and put in two regulation size pickleball courts at his little farm or area. So I mean,
Yeah.
like it's not that expensive. Like I don't think he made off like hundreds of thousands or anything. So like. I don't know. I think you can do it. I think you should do it.
I'm with you. I'm with you. But unfortunately, I don't have the final say. It's the people paying the bill. So we'll
That's
see how
fair.
that goes. But I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna do my best to push for it.
Awesome. All right, dude. I'll catch you later.